So I get to go right after Kim, which is awesome because he's so good at storytelling. And my dating story is completely opposite because I asked my husband out like 5 times and he kept saying no. So complete opposite. We won't even go there. All right, so first thing I want to talk about is obviously I'm going to talk about posting, which is kind of the first way, especially with something like this, that people actually see you. So it's kind of the first invite instead of you just inviting. The first thing they're going to see is your posts and everything that you're doing. But what I would like you to think about first, and I actually had to do this little exercise in, I think it was a new leaders group with Katie, and this exercise has been awesome. I go back to this all the time, but it's basically just figuring out who your ideal customer or coach is for you. So what we had to do, and what I would like all of you to do whenever you go home, is to kind of sit down and think about who you used to be before Beachbody, who you are now, attributes that you like about yourself, who do you admire, what are your friends like, who do you like spending time around, maybe who you actually want to become, and then speak to that person whenever you're posting. So I named her. Her name is Lucy, and I have no idea where I came up with that name. I think I just like threw it out there. I found a little Pinterest picture of a girl who I thought was super cute. I liked her style. She has brown hair like me, and I put it on there also. But then I just listed out some stuff. So Lucy is a 27-year-old former athlete looking to retone, shed a few pounds gained after retiring, and pick up healthier habits. She's terrified of going to the gym for fear of being judged. She has no idea what to do to get started or to better herself. She's married, she has no kids, but she wants to start a family soon, and she's worried about handing down her bad eating habits and not exercising to her family. She is the cutest dog in the world, Marley, that's true. She overanalyzes conversations and situations to the point where it can hold her back in meeting new people. That's something that I have a hard time with when I'm having a conversation. I'm like, oh, are they going to like that I said that? Should I not have said that? I go home and replay the conversation to a fault. She has an intense passion for fundraising, which I'm sure most of you know that. She may be the worst cook in the world. She would much rather receive experiences as gifts opposed to things. And she's super busy, constantly trying to find more energy to keep up with all the things she has going on. And a lot of times she'll fake being sick because she's just tired and can't actually continue on. So after you come up with this person, and this could take a little while, it took me kind of a while to think about what qualities I have that maybe there's people out there struggling with also, or things that I like about myself that I can relate to other people. So Marley, my dog, that's one thing that I scroll through and look for people with cute dogs because I can start conversations that way. But one thing I want you to think about after you've come up with this person, whenever you're making your post, I sometimes will sit down and think, how did I used to feel? So I'll think, I used to feel blank. I used to feel tired. I used not to have any energy. I used to pretend being sick so I wouldn't have to go do things that I just didn't have the energy for. But since I've started this new healthy lifestyle with Shakeology and working out, sometimes I don't even use those words. Sometimes I just say, since I've started working out, just planting those seeds for people to ask me, what are you doing? I now feel like I have so much more energy. When I'm teaching my really late dance classes at night, I can keep up with them still. I'm not tired. And that's because of this new thing that I've started. So you kind of take the old you, what you've started doing that's new, and then take the new way that you're feeling and make your post based around that. Speak to that person. So that's usually, one little snippet in my post is kind of the old, what I've replaced it with, and the new. Next. Okay, so now connecting your post to your personal development. Once you've come up with that person, that's you essentially, how are you going to actually form a post for that person? So the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what are you reading or listening to, and use that to form your post. And that can be such a big variety of things. People get hung up on what personal development they should be doing when really it can be anything that you want it to be. So I listen to a ton of podcasts. I read a daily devotional every morning. I'm actually right now struggling with finding a place for grief in my life and how to deal with that pain. So I'm reading a lot of personal development along those lines and incorporating that into my posts. And there's people that are struggling out there with that, and so they relate to that. Just being really real, and it doesn't always have to be your words. You can read something that really resonates with you and kind of turn it into a post that someone else will resonate with also. So I wrote in there, what are you struggling with personally or having success with? Talk about how you got to the point you are and relate it back to your workouts, your business, your team, etc. So a lot of times when I'm talking about struggling with grief or pain or whatever, I'll go back to working out and how that kind of helps me to like push through and then on to the next thing, which is very real. A lot of people relate to that. Highlight key points in your readings or take notes. So whenever I'm reading, I'll literally highlight stuff and then maybe like draw an arrow and be like, write over in the margins what that, my husband's distracting me with the water handing out. Okay. All right. So I'll highlight like what that actually meant for me. So whatever I've read and how that related to me in my life right now, and I'll kind of write that over in the margin and then create a post around it. I'll go back through stuff I've highlighted. So whatever I've highlighted that day might not be what I post about. Maybe the next day I'm struggling with something to talk about and I go back through stuff I've read previously and relate back to it. But whenever you're posting this, always keep your ideal challenger in mind while you're doing it. So whoever, he is so distracting.
I'm done.
Oh, is that looking at me too?
No, it's not looking
Okay.
at you.
All right, you can go to the next slide. All right, so this is an example of a post, and actually, whenever I was going through this morning, and it's really ironic that this is the post I decided to show you guys today, because this whole post is about my really good friend who was in a car accident a couple years ago, and he's been in a vegetative state since, and it's his birthday today. And this whole post is about that. So I just got chills. Whenever I read this morning, I was like, no way. How did I think to come up with that post? But confidence is trust is what that picture says right there. And that's actually something I pulled from a devotional in the morning. And the devotional had nothing to do with what this post actually was about. It was talking about being confident in yourself and confident with, your beliefs, and then you trust that belief. So basically what this post is about is how I was so intimidated by the gym. I didn't want to go. It made me really nervous, but I related back to an old Taylor who decided that I was going to do CrossFit with my friend Zach. And because I was confident in him and in his abilities to steer me in the right direction, I trusted him. So I started doing CrossFit with him. Then he had his accident, and I put a lot of weight on after that. And then I found Katie, and I found confidence in her, so I trusted her to get me to this point where I am now. And that kind of led into me coaching. So I just said, it's crazy because now I'm a coach. I hope I'm helping to build up confidence. I hope I'm trusted. So that's kind of showing how I'm a coach, but I didn't scream I'm a Beachbody coach in that post. I just said, I'm a coach. I hope you can trust me. I hope I can help you build confidence. So you don't have to really shout from the rooftops anything about Beachbody, or I do say the word Beachbody in there, but it's not in bold and I got this challenge pack on sale. I didn't say anything about that. Just kind of how my personal development led me to this point. Next, yeah. Okay, so sharing versus selling, which I feel like everyone always says to me they don't want to post 3 to 5 times a day because that makes them annoying. And it's not annoying because the 3 to 5 times a day, don't forget, does not have to be all Beachbody related. I probably do at least 3 Beachbody posts a day, but like I said before, I'm not screaming Beachbody in the post, so hopefully they're not annoying. If they are annoying, that person can just unfollow me. I really don't care. But then a couple of the posts are about other things. I talk a lot about marriage. I post a lot about my dog because she gets 400 likes. So then that that boosts, people looking at my page. So that's fine. But so what I like to tell coaches is, yes, selling is annoying on your personal Facebook page. So don't aim to sell anything to anyone. Aim to share what is working for you and how it could work for individuals like you. So going back to that ideal coach or customer, someone that's just like you, how can you share with them without overselling what you've done and how it could help them? As long as you include that key factor of how it could help them, people are going to be intrigued by that and not think it's too salesy. But for example, I haven't had a major weight loss journey, but I've had a crazy internal transformation. So I share how working out and eating right has helped me become more authentically me and get through days where I am extremely overwhelmed with grief. So I share that a lot. I refrain from posting the words on sale because I feel like those are just keep scrolling words. When people see the words on sale, they're like, oh, they're trying to sell me something, so they just keep scrolling. But if you're sharing something about yourself that they can relate to, that's going to be a little bit more of a scroll stopper, and they're going to be like, what's different about this? So there are some questions, some scroll stopping tips. How will you grab attention? So the first thing in your post could be a quote, it could be a question, something motivational or inspirational, or something funny, something to just grab their attention. What is the point you're trying to get across? And this comes from your personal development, and then relate it back to you and what you're doing. Separate your thoughts into short 2 to 3 sentence paragraphs. So what I like to think is, if someone only read one little paragraph of 2 to 3 sentences of this post, would it add value? Would they get something out of it? If they don't read the whole post, are they going to get something from those couple of sentences? And then what is the call to action at the end? So ask them another question, ask them to like or comment, message, or fill out an application, etc. If you use Woofu forms, I usually put that in the comments. I don't put that in the post because then it pops up as the picture. But whenever you ask them to like or comment, they're then taking action. If they act upon that, then that's free game for you to go ahead and reach out to them. And actually, I was laying in bed last night and I was like, what does a like on a post actually translate to in real life? Because people get real hung up on how many likes they get. And it doesn't necessarily matter how many likes you get, because if you're reaching one person per post, that's one more conversation you can be having. So I was laying in bed and I was like, likes are kind of like eye contact. So if you're walking down the street and you made eye contact with someone, you would feel more obliged to say hi to them or ask them how their day is or make conversation with them. So the like is kind of like that person making eye contact with you and giving you the go ahead to have a conversation with them. So don't ever think that just because they liked it, oh, maybe they just liked the picture. I've thought that sometimes too. And I'll actually open up conversations with that. I have definitely gotten some challenge packs and some challengers by saying, I saw that you liked my post. I'm sure maybe you just liked my ridiculous selfie, but if you're interested, and then they're usually like, no, I actually liked your post. But if you take the pressure off of it having to be them having to join what you're doing and just saying hi, that can start the conversation as opposed to blurring out everything you're trying to tell them. Always add a picture or video. So it doesn't matter what it is, a selfie, an eye-catching picture, a quote, something you're doing. Always add a picture because that gives them something to stop and look at. If it's just a bunch of words, they're just going to keep scrolling. A video, I have found my best videos I keep between 2 and 3 minutes. When people see over 3 minutes, they don't have more than 3 minutes. They think it's too long and they won't watch it. Along those lines also with videos, don't get hung up on the likes or the comments, because there's actually, I think it was in Shalene's podcast I heard, she said that people's brains, when they watch a video, don't remember to go back and like it or comment on it. So they'll be like, huh, and then they'll keep scrolling. But if they liked it, they'll eventually reach out to you. They'll keep looking at the other stuff that you're doing, and you'll get in contact with them. So don't get too hung up on the likes or the comments on your videos per se. And then I always reread my post to myself, and I think, if this came up on my news feed, how would I feel about it? Would I stop and would I read this, or would I just keep going? Would this just be someone trying to sell me something? Which, for me personally, last week, the end of the month, I was posting I'll give you this free refresh if you buy a challenge pack. No one's paying attention because they're like, yeah, this girl's trying to do something at the end of the month here. So I have to really pay attention to that, but I definitely do it too. I'm trying to get those Success Club points. It happens. Okay, so a lot of people ask me a lot of times too, how do you know what to post when? And there's really no schedule. You can post whatever you want, but if keeping up with 3 to 5 posts a day is a struggle, make a schedule just like your workout calendar. So a lot of times whenever I'm working full-time during the year teaching, I actually create my posts all week I'll be like, oh, like if something in my personal development strikes me and I have a good picture to go along with it, or even if I don't have the picture yet, I'll find one later. I'll form a post and I'll save it in the notes on my phone. And then later in the week, if I'm like, I haven't posted anything, I'll just go through posts that I have created already and just copy paste them and put them in there. So it's not taking up so much time later on. Maybe I spend an hour on it one night just creating posts for the week, and then I can pull from them whenever I'm struggling. I can alter them if something's kind of changed in my mindset throughout the week. But here is a schedule, so if I do get hung up on what to post, Monday, motivation, never miss a Monday. We all post that. Tuesday, transformation Tuesdays or nutrition tip Tuesdays. Wednesdays are great for water Wednesday. Thursdays are throwback Thursdays, which I love doing. Like, remember when I couldn't do a push-up? And then I'll like post a video of me doing like, I was gonna say 50, but that's a total lie. Like 5. I even wrote on there, no, I can do 5. On Fridays, I always do Pay It Forward Fridays. I do these in my challenge groups too. People love that, just feel good stuff on Fridays. It's the last day of the week, so Pay It Forward Friday. And then Jamie Messina, if you guys know her, she always does Fearless Fridays, which are really fun too. She does something completely out of her comfort zone on Fridays and posts about it, and people get really into that also. And once again, that could have nothing to do with Beachbody, but that's driving people to your page to see what you've got going on over there. And then remember, 3 to 5 includes personal posts too. Pictures of my dog get way more likes than pictures of me. I include a lot about my marriage, fundraising, dance. So don't forget to share your other passions and hobbies, because you'll find more like individuals sharing all of that stuff too. And then, like Kim said, confidence is key, and aim to inspire one person and not get 1,000 likes. I think I have one more slide. You're good. Okay, so this is just another sample of a post. So this is actually my before and after from Max 30. And there's not much of a difference. And I say that, like, I know it doesn't look like that much of a difference. And quite honestly, I thought I wouldn't have any transformation at all at this point. But what you can't see is the mental transformation. And I actually pulled this little snippet of personal development from Shaun T's podcast. He talked about finding your reserve tank of gas. So I talked about how I didn't know that I was capable of finding another place within me. But this program showed me that I could actually dig a little bit deeper than I even knew I could. It just taught me a lot about myself. And then I realized that I'm worth this fight also. Like, I do a lot sweating for something bigger, and every sweat matters, and sweating for other people. But it is important for me to kind of take a step back sometimes and realize that I'm worth it too. Sweating is good for me and helps me put my best self out there. So I didn't really talk too much about Beachbody, but I did mention Shaun T. I did mention Max 30. I talked about how I was down 1 pant size from that. And then I always tag my husband and everything, because then his college friends hit me up. Just kidding. He gets really annoyed with that. He's like, oh my gosh, you tagged me in 6 things a day. And I'm like, yeah, but these girls are messaging me, so it's great. So that's another tip too. Tag people, tag your husband in all your posts. And that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any questions? We good?
I have one question.
Yeah.
Because it really resonated with me when you said about when you post something and someone likes it, and it's like making eye contact. How do you use that then to open the conversation? Like you mentioned, hi, you probably like this picture. But
Yeah.
What would be another way that they're not cringing and like, I knew I shouldn't have liked it.
Okay, right. So
that's one of my
no,
fears,
I seriously don't ever, when I message someone who's liked a post, talk about the post. Like sometimes if it's someone that I know well and I don't think they're actually interested, but maybe they are and they're just not comfortable with saying it to me, I'll be like, I see you liked my selfie with my Shakeology cup. Like, thanks for the support or something like that. Like, it means a lot to me that you're supporting my post because it's uncomfortable for me. So knowing that someone close to me like you is liking them means a lot. I'll have people that will like it and I'll just message them and be like, oh my gosh, you just liked my post and I have not talked to you in 10 years. What's up? Like, just open a conversation, a normal conversation, and then eventually, naturally, it will make its way. Whenever I say like naturally it gets back to Beachbody, people always stare at me like, how do you like not like word vomit? But I actually have like a whole list of things that I talk about before I ever get to Beachbody that's sitting beside my computer, like in my phone. So I'll you just form them. Talk about everything else and just say, if they like it, just be like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you forever, or
Is your list
something
like
random.
a PDF? Is that something that you could?
No, it's on a piece of paper, but I can type it up.
If you can just type that up and add it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you explain form to those who don't know what that is?
Yes. So forming
Just saying.
is like, I always forget what the
I know
letters
what it is.
stand
It's
for. Family, occupation, recreation,
And your message.
and your message. Okay. I'm really great at forming. I don't know the last message part. I just talk about everything else. Crap. All right, so you just start. Form stands for what she just said, but the first one, family. So to ask them about their family, like, I haven't seen you forever. How's your mom? How's your brother? Stuff like that. Occupation. What are you doing now? Whenever they ask you about your occupation, I always say, I'm a dance teacher, but I'm actually a Beachbody coach also, because people know I'm a dancer, but they might not know that I'm a Beachbody coach. Recreation. What do you do for fun? All that kind of stuff. I usually talk about fundraising. That usually hits a chord with someone somewhere. Someone wants to raise money for something. And then your message. So your message is, you liked this post. This post actually, I'm starting a challenge group in a couple of weeks, or this post was really vulnerable for me. Thank you so much for reaching out. Since I've started Beachbody coaching, this is the type of message I'm trying to spread to people, type of thing. And the less challenge packy, the less Beachbody, the less Shakeology you are in those first initial messages, the better. And I tell my coaches all the time, it doesn't, for me, Dave calls me a soft sell. For me, it takes me a couple of days, sometimes a week, to even get to that conversation. So you just have to be patient and like duct tape your mouth shut. Do not word vomit, which took me forever. Like, I scared away some great people at the beginning of this all, because I was just like, guess what? Yeah. But you'll figure it out. And then on the side there too, I always like to talk about too is keeping your blinders on. But I actually just listened to a podcast the other day that says keep your blinders on, but don't be blind. So just because you don't want to look at what other coaches are doing, that doesn't mean that you can't look at what they're doing and see how you can make it unique to you. So unique is always better than better. So you don't want to try to be better than someone else, but you want to try to make it more unique to you. Unique is better than better. Anything else? Okay. Yay.